Hello, America. Just who are the American Civil Liberties Union? Well, the ACLU was formed in 1920, and this is the way the ACLU thinks of itself, and they heap it on pretty thick on their website. Quote, "The ACLU is our nation's guardian of liberty, working daily in courts, legislatures, and communities to defend and preserve the individual rights and liberties that the Constitution and laws of the United States guarantee everyone in this country. Your right to due process, fair treatment by the government whenever the loss of your liberty or property is at stake." Feel just a little embarrassed? Well, hold on to your seats. Here is one of the most famous of the ACLU follies. The ACLU lost many members in 1977 when they defended the American Nazi Party, when they wanted to stage a demonstration in the town of Skokie, Illinois, a city where many Holocaust victims and their families had settled. Over 30,000 ACLU members staged a demonstration of their own when they marched out of the organization, even after the ACLU won the case, and even though the Nazis never did march in Skokie. An observer writes, quote, "It was disgusting. I was watching the news coverage of that then. The idea of these people marching through the streets of Holocaust victims and their families was infuriating. The fact that the ACLU propped up their right to do it, completely ignorant of the shattered lives and feelings of these people, went beyond bad taste and crossed the line." Unquote. 30 years later, the ACLU proved again that it did not learn the lesson. The Ohio chapter agreed to represent the American Nazi Party once again in a conflict over a demonstration permit, this time in a predominantly black neighborhood in Cincinnati. Holly at the Moderate Voice shared this email. Quote, "On April 20th, 2007, the American National Socialist Workers' Party of Roanoke, Virginia, a neo-Nazi group, planned to march through predominantly African-American neighborhood of Over the Rhine in Cincinnati. The city initially issued a permit to the group for its march, but the permit was soon revoked and prohibitions were added by city officials, limiting the group's demonstration to a 3-block area. Believing their constitutional rights to free speech and free assembly had been violated, the ACLU of Ohio said it would defend the demonstrators. Was this what most fair-minded Americans would want from the ACLU? You say no? I think I agree with you. It was reported back in October 14th, 2003, in a Kafkaesque defense, the ACLU defended the neo-Nazi party once again. ACLU President Nadine Strossen told reporters that her organization intends to, quote, "vigorously and passionately defend the Georgia chapter of the American Nazi Party's First Amendment right to freely express its hatred of the ACLU by setting its New York office ablaze on November 25th. I am reminded of the words of Voltaire. "I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it," Strossen said. Quote, "While the ACLU vehemently disagrees with the ideas of Nazis torching this building, the principle of freedom of expression must be supported in all cases. If we take away these Nazis' right to burn down our headquarters, we take away everyone's right to burn down our headquarters." End of quote. Meshuggah, you say? Pazzo, loco, crazy? Yes, Meshuggah. I would say, but that's just my opinion. After all, who am I? I'm just a Holocaust survivor. Once again, the ACLU jumps into the fray, and this is their recent brazen announcement in Spanish. So please bear with me for just a moment. June 2010. La ley de discriminación racial de Arizona amenaza las libertades civiles. Para su difusión inmediata, contacto 212-549-2666. Nueva York, en respuesta a las amenazas contra las libertades civiles provocadas por la reciente promulgación de la Ley de Discriminación Racial de Arizona, las filiales de la Unión Americana de Libertades Civiles con sede en los distintos estados han emitido alertas a viajeros para informar a las personas de sus derechos en caso de que los intercepten las autoridades al viajar dentro del estado de Arizona. Dicha ley anticonstitucional, conocida como la SB 1070, requiere que los miembros de los cuerpos policíacos exijan documentos a las personas a quienes intercepten si sospechan que no tienen autorización para estar en los Estados Unidos. For those of you who did not understand this Romance language outburst, the ACLU issued this fallacious announcement as if they were speaking for the United States of America. This is what they said. The law of racial discrimination of Arizona threatens civil liberties. End of quote. For immediate dissemination, contact 212-549-2666. New York. In answer to the threats against the civil liberties caused by the recent promulgation of the law of racial discrimination of Arizona, the subsidiaries of the American Union of Civil Liberties, ACLU by their acronyms in English, with headquarters in different states, have issued warnings to travelers to inform the people of their rights in the event that the authorities intercepting them while traveling inside the state of Arizona. Said anti-constitutional law, known as SB 1070, requires that the members of the criminal authorities require documents of persons they intercept if they suspect that these persons do not have authorization to be in the United States. End of quote. Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive. 1. The ACLU misrepresented the intention of SB 1070 and the strict adherence that this law applies to anti-discrimination procedures, by the way, written into this bill because of the nature of the sensitivity towards race, gender, religion, nationality, and color, and specifically racial profiling. New Yorkers would call the actions of the ACLU chutzpah of the highest degree for trying to influence public sentiment against the SB 1070 law before the case had a chance to be adjudicated. The sitting federal judge, if he or she has his or her judicial boots on, should give the ACLU the boot for malpractice at the very least and throw this fallacious suit into the dung heap of judicial malpractice. In the words of Aristotle, the only stable state is the one in which all men are created equal before the law. In my opinion, that would include illegal immigrants, who will be adjudicated by the judicial system of the American people.